Barrister Fru John Nsoh.
Barrister Fru John Nsoh,
Yes.
you are the lead lawyer to the members of the interim government held in prison in Cameroon. And if I'm not wrong, correct me, it was the first time they appeared in court yesterday, whereas you have gone there for about 3 or 4 times, if I'm not wrong. What made the government to allow them to be present in court yesterday?
Well, that was the fourth hearing. The first two, the judge kept issuing a production warrant, which was being executed on the colonel in the said, and he kept flouting them. It was not until the last court session, before the one yesterday, when he walked into court, and the judge ordered him to make sure that those people appear before her. And that, with that court order, and the fact that we have been insisting and making sure that each time it's executed, he brought them to court yesterday.
Okay. And now, do you have any hopes that they might gain their freedom? Because if I am not wrong, you had interjected a habeas corpus, which in the layman's way is a requirement for them to be free because their arrest or detention is not legal.
Correct.
Now, do you think they are going to be free?
If we were in a judicial system where you can be sure of anything, I would have said relatively, I would have told you that they might be released. But we're in Cameroon, and I would not be surprised if we receive a negative ruling. It will not surprise me, because first of all, I'm not naive. The way we were treated in the High Court gave me the impression that we were in a system where we can never get justice. But the Court of Appeal has shown us that there's still some amount of justice, because the judge of that court was quite resolute and quite to the point of the law. So, and if she is going to rule with a free mind,
Yes.
we might have some hope. But
Yes.
I am saying that I will not be surprised if we have a negative ruling.
You will not be surprised if they have a negative ruling. The last time we spoke, you were somehow optimistic. And if you may have forgotten, let me remind you, said, given the political situation of the country, they might be released.
I said that, yes, because, and I continue to hold that Professor Kamto won the presidential election. Having worked with the Secretary General of that party, or Professor Kamto, who is part of this defense team, and the fact that I had sized up and I knew what plans they had to resolve the war situation that we're in, and to sit down with us and talk, I had the impression that if he won, we'll be having somebody with a clear mind, somebody different to talk to negotiate with. I call it negotiation because I've never believed in what you people call dialogue, inclusive dialogue, all this dialogue, up and down dialogue. After every conflict, the parties sit, or even during the conflict, even during negotiation of ceasefire, the parties sit and discuss and negotiate the terms. So I'm going to call it negotiations. But since the climate has dissipated and we are now in a hostile environment, because the powers that be have forcefully robbed Professor Kamto of his victory, I can now announce to you that I don't have any hopes, because the same person that declared war on us has also declared war on the rest of Cameroon by stealing the presidential election.
By stealing. So you still insist that Kamto won and that his victory has been stolen?
Yes, and I can tell you that from experience. I was in the counting commission of 1992 when Mfoundi won the election, and I know exactly what they do. I know the way this regime functions. They prepare results of an election, presidential election, before even it's taken, and that is exactly what happened. If you saw the document that Professor Kamto was showing on television, the figures don't add because they hurriedly did it. Why did they do it? Because Barrister Muna pulled out and joined Kamto the night before the election. So he just threw their figures out, and they had to overnight mumbo jumbo from figures. That's why the figures are not adding up.
But some people will tell you that Mr. Barrister Muna is no political heavyweight, and then his last-minute alliance or merger with Kamto had little or no bearing on the outcome.
I agree with that. But let me also tell you that when they did their first fraudulent results of the election, they took into consideration what Muna would have scored. And since Muna withdrew overnight, that threw their whole calculation overboard. So they had to go back to the drawing board. And doing the drawing board, they did such a messy job.
Now let's come back to
I'm talking from experience, because I was there in '92.
Exactly. Now let's come back. I understand the 10 members of the interim government in detention currently in Cameroon came well dressed, but the thing is, why don't we have any picture? Were they allowed to speak? How was their morale?
Let me tell you what you call well dressed. It was a new set of tracksuits. The old ones that they were wearing since they were in detention incommunicado, I'm sure they must have withdrawn it from them and bought new ones since they were going to come out to the public. Secondly, the whole court was taken up by military, armed military, and some in plain clothes in the population that was watching their arrival. And nobody was allowed to take any picture. Up to now, I have not seen a single picture. The only picture that you see is my press conference on Facebook and on YouTube. No picture is filtering out because the whole military arsenal that was deployed, armed men and some in civilian dress and dotted all over in among the population, would not allow anybody to take a single picture. So if anybody is showing you a picture, then that person must be an expert somewhere that managed to bring the pictures out. But there was no such pictures.
Now tell me, the hearing was postponed for the 15th of this month.
It was adjourned for the judgment. That's what you call ruling.
Ruling.
Yes, it was adjourned for the 15th of November.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And do you have any hopes that they can be released?
Like I said before, if it was left in the hands of this judge, because she comes across with her demeanor is quite good. Mm-hmm. She listens to both sides. She listens to the submissions of both sides. We were 4 of us who submitted, and I must say I appreciated the presence of Barrister Ndoki Michelle, who joined us, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate her and to encourage her to continue the good work that she's doing. She joined us, and we were the 4, including her, who did submissions. And the Avocat General defended the government. And if left to the judge, I think these people should be immediately released, because the issue of state gangsterism was brought out very clearly by the defense counsels.
And,
Yes.
And finally, there are some people who say, correct me, that the 10 leaders are no longer Cameroonian. Some of them are political refugees in Nigeria, and that normally they have to be released and sent back to Nigeria.
Let me clarify that.
Yes.
The 10 leaders who were all in court are all refugees because they filed with the Nigerian government for asylum. And secondly, they were registered refugees with the UNHCR, United Nations High Commission for the Refugees.
Yeah.
So they were refugees in Nigeria who were illegally abducted and brought to this country for trial. They have, when you file for asylum, let's get this clear, when you file for asylum, you call into question your nationality of the country from which you are coming from. And according to the convention, which Cameroon, the Convention on Refugees, which Cameroon ratified in 1961. That convention was promulgated in 1954. Cameroon ratified it in 61. And in its Article 33, it's clearly stated that any refugee living in a country of where he has taken refuge, if he commits any offense there, he's tried there, and the arm of the law of that country can come on him, and if they want to deport him, they should deport him to another country other than the country from where he's coming, because the law does not allow he or she to go even to the border of the country from where he's running from, because that particular person is running away from persecution, execution, and all the vices, the legal vices that may fall from the country from where he's running from. And what happened is that Cameroon complotted with Nigeria and kidnapped the people and blindfolded them, put them in a helicopter or in a plane without any, in violation of aviation law, without seat belts, and so like cargo, blindfolded till they got to Yaounde at the airport.
Okay, and now has the UNHCR said anything?
The UNHCR in Nigeria had registered them. When they were detention, the UNHCR came, and Nigeria gave an assurance that they will not be deported to Cameroon. And immediately the UNHCR said that they were supposed to come back and see them. They hurriedly deported them. They hurriedly kidnapped them. Kidnapped them. I call it kidnap, and brought to Cameroon.
And then finally...
and that was this is the first time they're appearing in court.
Okay.
That's why somebody remarked that they were looking happy. Because it's the first time they told their story. After we had finished our submission, the judge gave them an opportunity to say something. And 5 of them spoke. And that is the first time they told their story to the world, to a court of law. And I must take this opportunity to congratulate the judge of the Court of Appeal of the Central Province, because she did her job, only her job. Whatever the results may be, I have no fault. I cannot fault her for even 1 iota of the procedure.
And to conclude, Barrister, what message do you have to Cameroonians, to Southern Cameroonians, and to the world about your clients and their prospects?
I am addressing myself only to Southern Cameroonians, and I want to tell them that they should rest assured and rest resolute, and that our leaders one day will come out of that dungeon. I don't know how, but I'm convinced that they will come out. And we are not going to stop midway until they come out. We will take this thing to the logical end. And I want every Southern Cameroonian to know that. As for Cameroonians, I'm not going to tell them anything, because when they started killing our people, everybody in Cameroon here was quiet. So why should I have any hopes?
Okay. Thank you very much, Barrister.
Thank you, sir.